The Windy City Classic has witnessed many memorable moments. A walk-off grand slam by Carlos wins it for the Pinstripes. But the Northsiders seek revenge when the Southsiders came to Wrigley, and lo and behold, a granny slammed the Sox to return the favor. Today, a former farmhand comes back to the ranch where the Cubs have their welcome mat waiting. Next.
The sun is out, the rains have passed, and the Cubs and Sox are ready to get it on here on Chicago's North Side. One of the greatest rivalries in all of sports. It's a brief one, but boy, it's been heated. The Cubs and Sox hook up for the first time here at Wrigley Field in the 2002 campaign, and all the fun of the Crosstown Classic comes your way next here on Fox Sports at Chicago. Hello again, everybody, along with Dave Otto, Chip Caray. Welcome back to Wrigley Field. For baseball fans in Chicago, we've not enjoyed an awful lot of postseason success in the last 50 years or so, and frankly, this series and the one that will take place at the end of the month at Comiskey Park will feel like the World Series. Dave, you played in this game when it was an exhibition game. How did the players react to the Crosstown Classic?
Well, I'll tell you what, even in the exhibition games before 1997, this was a big deal for the players, particularly the bragging rights. And Chip, you mentioned this. The Cubs not in that World Series since 1945, the White Sox since 1959. So hopefully both of these ball clubs might make the playoffs this year. You never know. So if you don't make the playoffs right here, this is the bragging rights for this city of Chicago.
And let's not forget, from the Cubs' perspective, in 1999, they were in first place when the White Sox and Cubs hooked up. The White Sox, in very bad weather, beat the Cubs handily in a Wrigley Field series. The Cubs' season fell apart. They lost 40 of their next 50 games and were not heard from again in that 1999 season. And really, Dave, both teams are looking at this series to be a turnaround for them. The White Sox enter it at 500, the Cubs 12 games under and 10 games out of first place.
When the Cubs met the White Sox last year, they had a solid lead in first place, and it really carried the Cubs through the month of June and July. Now, when the White Sox met the Cubs also in that month of June at Comiskey Park, all of a sudden the White Sox went 18-9 in that month of June. So that really jump-started their season. It's a great break for both ball clubs to have this series right now. The Cubs playing better baseball now, winning 2 out of 3 in Seattle, losing a heartbreaker in Houston that final game of the series. This is a big series for the Cubs, not only this series, but this entire homestand.
It is a cliche, but it is one that has stood the test of time throughout the records, because these two teams do bring out the best in each other. And if you look, Dave, at the series records, the Cubs have outscored the White Sox in head-to-head play, but it's the White Sox who've won more games.
Well, in that series last year, the first 2 games of this Crosstown Classic go 10 innings. So it seems like with the players, they play that much better in this series, and it's always that one little play during the game that decides these ball games.
So you figure this one should be a tight ball game, especially with who is pitching today. John Garland, a former #1 pick of the Cubs, who was traded away for Matt Karchner in that 1998 wild card season for the Cubs. He comes back to pitch for the White Sox against the Northsiders, and it's really been a tale of 2 seasons for Garland. He started very slowly, but boy, he's been lights out his last 4 times out there.
And started and pitched out of the bullpen last year for the White Sox, and this is one of the young pitchers for the White Sox that they're really counting on this year. And you look at the numbers for Garland in April, a 6 ERA, and that is slowly whittled down. The last 4 starts for him, he has been tough to handle, and basically because of that sinker, he throws from way up top and he just buries guys downstairs. It's important for the Cubs to make sure you get that sinker up. Matt Clement, on the other hand, pitched against Seattle at Seattle and snapped a 3-game winning streak in a losing effort. However, went 7 innings in that ball game, gave up 4 runs early, and what a savior he has been for this Cubs pitching staff. One of the best rotations in all of baseball, thanks to guys like Matt Clement.
And frankly, for Cubs fans, too, it goes without saying, this is maybe the most important stretch of the 2002 season. If the Cubs have any chance at all, or any hope at all, of getting back into postseason consideration, Dave, they've got to turn things around here at home, and they've got to do it on this homestand. A 13-game homestand, the longest of the year for the Cubs, who are 10-17 at the not-so-friendly confines.
Let's face it, the Cubs had a nice schedule at the beginning of the year. It went by them. They did not play well. Now all of a sudden they're playing a little bit better, and this is the tough part of the schedule. However, as you mentioned, the Cubs are home now, and they've got to improve on that 10-17 record right here at Wrigley Field.
And hopefully it'll start today. It's Matt Clement against Mr. Started for the White Sox today?
John Garland. Turbo sinker.
I almost said Matt Karchner. Things aren't going particularly well. We wish we had Mr. Karchner, and we wish we had Mr. Garland, too. Should be a lot of fun today. We're going to head downstairs for some of the pregame ceremonies as the Cubs and the White Sox resume friendly hostilities here at Wrigley Field.
Stepping out to the mound, time for our ceremonial first pitches this afternoon. Welcome here.